Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of the Civil Gore Podcast. This is our New Jersey HorrorCon preview. I am your host, Tim.
And this is Brian. And you know how Tim and I love going to New Jersey HorrorCon. This is going to be our third. And what's great is, once again, we were returning with our other Civil Gore family members there, Mr. Steve Cohn and Ken.
This is going to be an interesting one because it's not as packed a guest list as we'll find out here shortly.
Yeah, for us too, it's a lot of repeats.
Yeah, a lot of repeats. So it's not, unlike the last two cons where we really had some guests that we were super excited to meet, this one's a little short on the guest stuff, but we're still super excited to meet up with our friends and have a great time in Atlantic City because we always have a good time just hanging out. I mean, that's really, the con is kind of secondary to just, hanging out with your friends and having a good time. So
we go we have fun at we go to have some meals that we definitely take into all the various bars that are around there.
The arcades. We are big pinball fanatics.
Last year and now this year they added the go-kart track. So we should probably do like the Civil Gore 500 or something, little thing like that, do fun stuff. And I keep saying I'll do it this year. I'm going to promise to try and get more content. We always forget because most of the time it's because we get there and we have so much fun. But I mean, I basically bought that little selfie stick / little mini tripod thing specifically for this reason, so that we can kind of just kind of walk around and literally get our view of it, as it's going. So we'll get a lot of raw footage of stuff like that. And then, maybe we'll try and do some Instagram lives throughout the day. We've never actually done one of those, I think,
we should try that.
Yeah. And, just to kind of give you give you the feeling of the con when we're there. But we got a lot to do, so we want to keep it brief. We're just going to pretty much go through the guest list and maybe a couple of main events that are happening there. But, I guess I'll kick it off. Actually, one thing we found out just before we went recording, of course, Eric Roberts, who we've been trying to meet forever since he was on the show, he had to cancel due to I guess a role. But I mean, I was telling Tim, I'm like, how does this guy find con time anyway? The guy's in 60 movies a year. It's when would he have time to actually spend 3 days at a horror con? And Charles Cypher sadly can't make it because I guess he can't fly, so I don't know if that's due to health reasons. I mean, he is up there in age, as we know. It may be something that it's not safe for him to fly, so of course we wish him the best. These things happen with cons. I mean, the biggest
you always have last minute cancellations.
Yeah. And so you always have to hold every guest list with a grain of salt, and I think one of our biggest ones was when I think Ashley Lawrence canceled a couple of weeks before our first one. We were all excited to see her. Yeah. It happens. But there's still plenty of guests that are here, so we'll go through them. I'll start off. First one, Tony Moran. He's a repeat guest for us. I think he's been there all the cons we were at, actually. Of course, he's Michael Myers at age 23. Really fun dude, though, from what our friend Abby tells us. She's been to a bunch of cons with him. So
the next one is Nancy Loomis, of course, from Halloween. He played Annie Brackett, and she was also in The Fog. This one I'm actually pretty excited for because I've never met her, and she's a pretty big anyone from the original Halloween, I would say, is a pretty big get. So
yeah,
definitely looking forward to that one.
So next one, sorry, I had to scroll back down. Next one is Joel Murray. Talk about the brothers of famous, the siblings of famous. You had Eric Roberts, of course. Sadly, he canceled, but you got Joel Murray, who is, of course, the brother of Bill Murray. All three of them, all four of them, actually, all Murray brothers, I think they're all in Scrooge. That may be the one movie they're all in, I think, together. Joel Murray included. And, he was actually in that Holiday Hell movie we saw, the one with Jeffrey Combs we liked, him in that best segment we liked, too.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'd like to, actually, I'm kind of glad he's there. It'd be fun to talk about him, talk to him about that and tell him how much we liked it.
Yeah. Next one up is a staple here, Linnea Quigley, who we've met before. She was in everything in the 80s, basically.
Yeah. I mean, what wasn't she in? I dare you to find horror movie she wasn't in there somehow. The next one, of course, is Eileen Dietz, who is from The Exorcist. She's Pazuzu's face. That face you see flashing for like milliseconds in frame. So I wonder if we'll even get to see her. Or she's going to be in such cosplay, we're going to only like see her in like.
She's just going to peek out from the curtain like every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's an interesting guest, I have to say. Be kind of definitely a good one for the con circuit.
Next one is Carolyn Williams, of course, from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. She played Stretch.
Also she was in Hatchet 3, too, which I liked in there. And a couple of other, obviously, a lot of other movies. Next one is Tom O'Connell, which is interesting. He did the stunts in the Obi-Wan TV series, which is kind of like, that's like at a Star Wars convention, that guy would be like one of the biggest guests. I just hope he doesn't get lost in this like con.
I know.
People would be looking for horror guests. I mean, granted, there's always the horror pop culture crossover, but I'm wondering if this guy knows what he's in for at this horror con.
Well, that's at least a good guess for Brian. It's such
a
big Star Wars fan.
Anything Star Wars for me, I'm like all about it. So,
next up we have another Texas Chainsaw Massacre guest. This is John Dugan, who played Grandpa Sawyer.
Yeah. That's kind of a cool guess. I think he was was he at the last year's or the one before, or first one?
I can't remember, and he might have been at one I went to in the way back in the day before we went to the first New Jersey Horror Con. But yeah, that's not a terrible guess. I actually, anything connected to the original movie is just insane for me.
Yeah, I mean it's always a plus. Then we have Paul Wiley, who, if you like the music in the Terrifier films, he is the one to thank for that, because he's the composer of Terrifier 1 and 2, which is actually that's kind of an interesting guest, because granted, New Jersey Horror Con has provided the Terrifier group like countless times, even the Terrifier 2 group, I think, was there the fall one. So they've gotten a lot, like almost everybody you could possibly get from that trial. I don't know if Paul Wiley's been there yet, though. So that's good for him to get there, because anything involving Terrifier, is.
And that would be amazing if he had vinyl scores of.
He
Terrifier,
might. He seems like a dude that would. I don't know. He just something about it, that retro feel to him. I don't know.
Because I got the that Scream Queen on vinyl.
Yeah.
Last year, which was amazing. I was so excited to get that. So I'm looking for there's any vinyl soundtrack.
Oh, that's right. I know you're gonna actually, you have a whole new eye now towards these the booths. Look out! Anyone listening to this that has a vinyl knows about guys selling vinyl over at HorrorCon. Tell them to look for Tim and just reel him in. Because
I'll just open my wallet and dump money on your.
Yeah,
table.
he won't even look. He'll just he'll hand it over. It's like it's like that speech that James Earl Jones does in Field of Dreams. He goes, they'll just walk over and hand you $20. You don't walk
exactly.
in. It's like that line. But I was gonna say, it's like too. It's with the retro feel to just the whole way Terrifier crew is very 80s. I could see this guy being a really fun guy to chat with and see what he's got to sell.
Next up, we have Richard John Walters, who played Harry Warden in My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Yeah, that was actually it's funny, that movie, so many people are I see two camps of that movie. People absolutely love it. And people are saying, how dare, it's okay, but the original is so much better. I have a feeling a lot of people that liked this one so much probably didn't see the original or even realized it was based on it. I just get that vibe. It's like a lot of people owned that movie, they feel from the 90s, because it was 3D. It had Jensen Ackles, but they don't realize it also had Tom Atkins snuck in there, and then you get our generation. So I think, but yeah, I personally prefer the original. Not that this one was bad or anything. Next one we got Jason. Oh God, it's poor guy. I hope he's not listening. He's gonna butcher him. Jameson Newlander from The Lost Boys. He played one of the Frog brothers, Alan Frog, and he was also in The Blob. I think he was in all the Lost Boys movies. The sequels too,
which I haven't seen. I've never seen any of the Lost Boys sequels
either. And that's actually a decent mini slaycation. We need to put one in, because there's 3 now, right? I think.
At least.
At least there's 3. So so that might be a nice little slaycation coming up.
So next up is Judy Aronson, who was, of course, Samantha in Friday the 13th Final Chapter, and Weird Science. She played Hilly.
Yeah, Tim knows. He's probably sick of me saying how I can't wait to meet her, because I was always a big fan. So, yeah, this is definitely one booth I will very excited to stop. She actually has a panel, too, on Saturday, which I might want to catch right after the Felissa Rose panel. It's like a double feature. It's first Felissa, then Judy, because she jumped in to the Eric Roberts cancellation. She kind of jumped in there, so
Nice.
they moved her panel up from the end. So that's good. Yeah, so I definitely want to see her. Next one's another guest. It's like it seems like it's the guest in a row that like I'm so excited about, and Tim like doesn't really get why I'm so excited. But then Michael Paré, of course, from two of my favorite movies of all time, which was Eddie and the Cruisers and Streets of Fire, which Cone and I have been trying to get Tim to see for the past 3 years.
I've already decided I'm going to watch it before the con because I've got to know who this guy is. I don't recognize him.
He plays Tom Cody in that, and it's such a role that there's no way you can't like. It's like I'm going to tell him right to his face too. I'm like, how have they not made like a spin-off like Tom Cody like comic series? He's just cool. That movie, Tim, is one of the big issue movies, and I think when you see it, you're going to be blown away that you haven't seen it yet. It's going to become one of your favorites. It just has a lot of Tim elements to it.
Well, it's on my. I have to rent it, but I'm going to do it. It's on my list to do this week for sure. I've got a to-do list already created, so what I need to watch.
And I'm sure you've probably seen Eddie and the Cruisers back from like probably on cable years ago or something.
I've not seen Eddie.
Oh my gosh, you haven't seen that too? This poor guy.
Nope.
He's also in the Philadelphia Experiment. He's been in such big movies.
I haven't seen that either. I haven't seen any of those dudes' movies at all.
Man, and would you see if you
got
see
a lot
him in
of catching up
Field?
to do.
If you see him in Streets of Fire, though, you're going to be afraid of him to tell him he's not a movie because he's kick your butt, man.
So next up we have, of course, a con favorite, Felissa Rose, which we've met the previous two times we went to New Jersey Horror Con, and she is always a wonderful, wonderful guest. Of course, she plays Angela on Sleepaway Camp, and she is the mangled dick expert from Joe Bob's The Last Drive-In. She is fantastic in person, gives great hugs, and is just an awesome, awesome guest.
Yeah, it's like wouldn't be this New Jersey Horror Con if she's not there. Yeah. I feel like she has to be there. Yeah. You know, it's not the same. And of course, what's even great is she's hosting Karaoke this year, so you know that's going to be pretty fun because the host has to be like on. Like Jennifer Banco pretty much knocked it out of the park last year. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see Felissa, who is hilarious whenever there's a microphone in front of her.
Yeah, you need somebody that's super outgoing, and she fits the bill, believe me.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping I wonder if she'll sing too. It'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Because she'd probably like jump in on anyone's song too if you ask her. She's like the best. Next one is Richard Tyson, who of course I first came into my world in 3 O'Clock High, who played Buddy Revell. He played the bully. A lot of you may know him from Kindergarten Cop, where he played Crisp, as Arnold would say, the villain in that, and he's actually pretty talented in those movies. And he was also in Cry Havoc with our good friend Emily Sweet. So we can probably chat with him about that.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Miko Hughes, who's been at some other cons. I don't think I've ever met him, actually, though.
We did at the first one.
Oh, that's right. That's right, because he was with...
Remember they had that whole little Pet Cemetery
they had the reunion thing.
Junket.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so he's cool. He played, of course, Gage in Pet Cemetery. He was also another Kindergarten Cop alumni. He played Joseph, and Cops and Robertsons, he played Billy.
Yeah, he was actually really funny. That's one of my guilty pleasure movies, Cops and Robertsons, by the way, if you've not seen it. It's pretty funny. Jack Palance in it is like he plays like a caricature of himself. It's like Nick Cage playing Nick Cage.
That's awesome.
It's like like he does it's like he goes on full on Jack Palance, and like there's just parts that like cracks me up because he kind of does like slapstick things in it, and Chevy Chase is in it, of course. So definitely one of my favorites. But I will say, I have to say, they're really pushing this Kindergarten Cop reunion. I mean, I don't even think Richard Tyson and Miko Hughes had a screen time in that movie together. They weren't even connected any way possible in that movie. It's kind of funny that they're forcing that little duo. And even they have a panel. What the hell are they going to talk about? Well, while you were on set in your trailer, I was doing this. Oh, and I was...
And this is not even a horror movie, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, very, very odd choice by New Jersey Horror Con. Now, granted, I do love Kindergarten Cop, but like it's like you're not getting like if it was different, it was like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, Richard Tyson panel, Kindergarten Cop. But I feel like Miko Hughes is getting like thrown in for that for his like 2-minute sequence where he talks about he has a penis and a girl's a vagina or something like that. Whatever, that's his like line. Anyway. Moving on. I'm not trying to bash either one of them. It's just funny. Next one is Robert Mukes. He was Rufus in House of a Thousand Corpses. Really big dude. Probably very intimidating in person. But again, anything from that movie is is pretty cool.
Next up, we have a little Child's Play reunion. We have Christine Elise, who was in Child's Play 2.
Yeah, just do them both.
Yeah, I'll just do both. Christine Elise and Alex Vincent. Of course, Alex Vincent was in it was Andy Barclay in the original movie, and also in the Chucky series. And Christine Elise was in Child's Play 2, Cult of Chucky, and also the Child's Play series. She plays Kyle. So I'm actually more interested in meeting these guys now that the Chucky series is out, because like when we
got to meet them briefly last year,
but it was
like through Abby.
It wasn't like a really like. It'll be interesting now that because the series is so good. Like I love the series.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a refresher to make me a little bit more excited to meet those guys.
Yeah, and plus Abby, I think, is really close with them, so we'll be able to we'll get some good on like FaceTime with them.
Yeah, cool.
Next one, Tom McLaughlin. Here's the guy I really want to talk to, because he was the director, of course, of Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, which is one of my favorites. A lot of people loved that one. Had a nice mix of gore, Jason antics, and like some humor in there. It was actually just really almost a perfect Friday the 13th.
And he does a lot of you've probably seen him on a lot of documentaries and things. He tends to do a lot of those. So I kind of instantly recognized him just from that. And Friday the 13th Part 6 was, I don't believe it was the first Friday the 13th film I watched, because I believe I watched them in order because I rented them on VHS back in the day. But it was by far one of my favorites, and it still is one of my favorite Friday the 13th, period. So I'm looking forward to meeting him the same way Brian is. The next one is Tim Jacobus, who is a Goosebumps artist. Now, this one is interesting only because Anna doesn't read a lot of Goosebumps, but she loves the artwork. She loves she's got a really cool Goosebumps shirt. And so I'm thinking if he has $20 signed prints, so if I see a cool one, I think that's definitely a good pickup for Anna, because I think she would love something like that.
Oh, maybe he'll even do it. You should ask him, because sometimes they'll do like little consignments like there.
Yeah.
If you show him, maybe you can imagine he makes like Anna into it.
Oh, that would be cool.
Somehow. That'd be cool. Yeah. Next one up is Nicholas Mealy. Most people will recognize him from Nightmare on Elm Street. He played Alice's father from Part 4 and Part 5. And he was also on Seinfeld. It's interesting. Seinfeld guests seem to always appear at these cons too, because so many people have been guest spots on Seinfeld. Yeah. But he is in it. He was one of the detectives, I believe, one of the episodes. He played a police detective. So I can't remember which one. It was either the one where they went to L.A. or maybe the one where they had something in New York and he was a detective. I can't remember. But either way, yeah, he was on Seinfeld too.
This next is a really interesting guest. This is Billy Redden, who was who played Lonnie in Deliverance. If you don't remember who that was the kid picking the banjo on the front porch, which was always a scene that terrified the hell out of me, even before I saw the rest of the movie. So I'm really interested to talk to this guy.
Yeah, and he was Big Fish and played Banjo Man. Yeah. So obviously he could play the banjo. Tim, you need to bring your ukulele, and like you can have like a dueling things there. Although he still scares me, this dude.
He could not play, but the trivia is he could not play the banjo in Deliverance. They actually had he had sleeves cut out, and they had an actual banjo player playing the banjo for him in the movie.
That's hilarious. So, how do you get typecast at something you can't do?
I mean, maybe he probably could. He probably just learned it afterwards. But it's just kind of an interesting little tidbit there. But yeah, he scared the hell out of me when I was younger and watched that movie.
I tell you, he still scares me. That was kind of like what was it? The Harvey what's his face from The Exorcist?
Yeah.
Remember, like, even though like he was like now grown up and everything, he still had that like wink in his eye that like freaked you out. I'll tell you, he scared us there. The next one this is like a weird one in Civil Gore history here. So Short Circuit 1 and 2, of course you had Johnny Five and you had The Voice, and Tim Blaney is The Voice, and he will be there at HorrorCon. And we, of course, Tim and I want to try and get him to say like, "Hey, Laser Lips, your mama was a snowblower," because of course he said, we always said he said Laser Lips in there. But like, yeah, I mean that movie, like number 5, the robot had a lot of funny lines. Like throughout my family, we used to watch that movie all the time.
I still quote Short Circuit. I still quote it in Johnny Five's voice.
Yeah, you do, because it's so recognizable. So we got to have him almost say something. Yeah, I mean, I will actually even pay for a selfie with this guy if he'll like maybe record a video going like, "Watch Civil Gore" or something like in Johnny Five's voice or something. We got to get him to do something.
Oh my gosh. The next one is Brian Bremer, who was Bunt in Pumpkinhead and played Petrie in Society, which I had not seen Society until this past year. That is a
from Joe Bob.
A crazy movie, yeah.
Yeah, that is a bizarro movie in there. That is the one where like like if you're a horror fan and that's the one someone catches you watching first time, they're gonna probably commit.
But
you.
he's I recognize him from a lot of stuff though.
Oh yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. I just tried to throw in a couple of things.
Yeah.
I didn't want to overwhelm this spreadsheet.
But that's a cool guess. Like the more sometimes when you first see this guest list, you're like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is, and you're just like scrolling through it. But when you start really looking at it, you go, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's in everything.
Well, yeah, Tim will tell you I'm like a spreadsheet nerd. So it's like I have like a 19 tab spreadsheet here for all of us to share a shared thing about the HorrorCon. So I put like little bits as what we're reading this off of. So it's like so when Tim's right though, it's like sometimes I'll go through these guests and they'll like the New Jersey HorrorCon puts a little couple of things about them, but then you discover way more that they've done that you might know than what their little couple of things. So I just try and put a few on here, not to overwhelm everybody, because if anyone saw this spreadsheet, they'd put me in like spreadsheet jail or something. It's crazy. It's way too many tabs for everybody. But and I have like a schedule. Like I have to say though, that schedule tab is a work of art. The way I have that lined up, color coded, so at any point in the day we can look and we know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I'm proud of that.
We like to be
one.
organized here at Civil Gore.
Yes, and so we can basically just abandon every schedule we ever have and just go off having whiskey sours. We have John Russo, of course, who is another mainstay at this con. I think he lives in New Jersey. That's why, or
I think he lives in the
like
showboat.
Yeah, he might live in the showboat actually, because he hasn't.
I don't think
he's been at every con we've been there. And I mean, heck of a nice guy.
He's very nice,
very
guy,
sweet man there.
What's funny is I've literally met John Russo at every horror con I've ever been to. I think.
Yeah, maybe he's like your tether, like from. He's like tethered is your con tether, you know. He's like
it's so weird. Like even the ones at Art New Jersey Horror Con, I've still met him, like every time.
You know what's funny is like, what if he tells all his people? He goes, "Hey, I'm going to the con," and Tim's a guest there again.
Oh,
poor guy.
Next up is
he's a nice dude.
He's a very nice guy. Yeah. The next one up is the Grim Life Collective. This is I actually looked these up, Brian. This is a YouTube couple that explore. Okay. They're based in LA and they do real life horror locations throughout the world. So they do, and I've seen them do. They also do interviews. Like,
see, this is the perfect example because I had no idea who they were, and now you told me that, and I'm like excited to kind of see.
Oh yeah,
them.
yeah. I'm actually really excited because It was funny enough is the way I found out who they were is I was looking up videos of Clint Howard. Just because, as you'll find out soon enough.
That just had a context. That sounds hilarious.
I was looking at videos of Clint Howard on YouTube, and it was like the Grim Life Collective interviews Clint Howard. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. That's the Grim Life Collective that's going to be at the HorrorCon. So, it's pretty cool. They're YouTubers.
Oh, nice. Well, we definitely have to check them out. This next one is probably...
Just do these together.
Yeah, I'm going to do these together. This is the only one that probably only... going there, like you and Ken will probably not even know what the hell Conan and I are talking about when we go to see these two, but they have guests from
oh my god,
I gotta hand it to them showing up to a horror con as and your main roles were from Annie the musical from I think 85, that version of Annie. It's Tony Ann Cassandi and Roseanne Sorrentino. Now Tony Ann Cassandi was the tiny little girl Molly in it. She was very little in it. She was the youngest orphan.
Yeah.
And Roseanne Sorrentino was a really tall one that kind of always got into it with Annie.
I just had an idea, though. I've got the Annie soundtrack on vinyl. I wonder if I should bring it for them to sign. That would be cool, right?
That would be the funniest thing is you, of all people, go in there to get that thing. Yeah, I have the Annie soundtrack on CD. I'm not going to lie. That was like, I always think back to the Chandler and Monica when they were packing up. And, like Chandler had 2 copies of it by mistake, and he thought him and Monica each had one, and he thought it was so cute until he found that both copies were his.
Well, it's actually Anna's. She bought it because she loves the Annie soundtrack. So that would.
I love that movie. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna hide that.
I guess I probably shouldn't tell the story of when I went to the theater to see something I was really excited to see, and I can't even remember what the movie is now. This is when I was younger, and they were sold out, and so my mom made us watch Annie instead, and I was so pissed.
Oh no!
But I ended up liking it.
And it's probably not Annie's fault either because the movie's great.
No, I love the movie. I love the movie.
Yeah.
Now. I've watched it many times since. So
yeah. Well, yeah, and Tony and decided to. I wonder if I could get if we can go up to her and go like IODENT. And then she can go like, "Hey, Emily," you know, the little growly voice she does. And gotta get. I have a feeling we might they're gonna think we're like mocking them, but like literally, I have to tell them that movie used to get discussed when Conan and I used to be in our play Call of Duty. So, I mean, if you ever see a different, bigger parody than having you're in a violent war game and you're discussing a 1985
Put it this
musical.
way, they've probably not run into 3 middle-aged guys who are as into Annie as us 3.
No, I think Ken may walk away from
Ken
us
may
at this
walk
point.
away. I don't know how. I don't know.
Yeah,
his
Ken may
decision,
say no.
but, I mean, I've got long history with this movie.
Yeah, me too. I still remember when it debuted. HBO said we have a surprise showing at 8:00 of something for Christmas, and nobody knew what it was. And back then, you had no internet, so you had no clues. And all of a sudden, they played Annie like after it was like just out of the theater or something. So it was like a big deal.
Next one up is another kind of a con mainstay. She was there last year. That's
Yeah.
Barbie Chula NYC, who's a cosplayer and worked at Blood Manor, New York City's premier haunted house.
Yeah, which you know what, I feel bad because we always like seem to get she moves around, so she's at a table, but she also moves around. From
And
what
sometimes
I
she's
remember,
in
I felt
crazy makeup. Like sometimes.
Yeah, you could literally walk by her, and I didn't realize it was her, and I was so bummed that I didn't get to meet her the last time. So I definitely want to do that this time, and that'd be a cool thing to discuss because we love haunts, and so this is like one haunt, like one of these extreme haunts. I'd love to talk to her about. Next two, I guess I'll do both. There's two wrestlers. I think they're both from ECW. One is Angel Amoroso, and I think she has a title like some kind of like horror, like ECW queen or something. I don't know. And then Jason Knight, who I've heard of. Actually, I think he might have been at one of the other cons we were at.
Yeah.
I want to say. I don't know. But anyway, so two pro wrestlers are there. Wrestling and horror always seem to go hand in hand at these cons. You always seem to have a wrestler at one of these.
Yeah.
Or two.
Next one up is Pancho Moller, who is from 3 from Hell, Sebastian, and 31. He played Sickhead. And he's the interesting fact, he is the first professional little person skateboarder in the world.
Really?
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Not like that guy from like Jackass, the one that used to.
Yeah, he's like, I guess that guy wasn't like a professional skateboarder. This guy is like,
professional. Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Next one. This is a Tim. I had met him, I think at a con years ago. I can't remember where I met him, but this is one that Tim is like dying. I mean, that is Michael Berryman, of course, from The Hills Have Eyes. He had that standard look. If you saw him, he played Pluto in that. If you saw his face, you'd know who he was instantly. And he was also in Weird Science, which I could see why. I don't know why that is not a forced like reunion kind of thing, because you got Judy Aronson there, and you got Michael Berryman, and they actually interacted in a scene.
I mean, Michael Berryman, if you grew up in the 80s, you've seen him in so many things. Like, he's just completely iconic. So I've always heard he's like such a super nice guy.
Oh yeah, from what I remember, he was really nice. I want to say it might have been a Chiller, where like I was like bumped into him. I was still like I was like, he's one of those guys that you still get nervous because he's tall.
Yeah.
And I'm short, so.
This one I'm not familiar with. This is Xander Goldman from Macabre Mountain.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I think Macabre Mountain was like is a new movie coming out. I guess I'll go to the last one, and then you can get the big one. Next one, of course, he's another cosplayer, mainstay. He's been to every con you've ever been to in the East Coast, and that's Father Evil, who's actually a pretty cool dude. And I found out an interesting fact about him. And this is a guy we're gonna have to talk to. This guy over at about the Buffalo Bills house. That thing you watched it the other night. That like the concert from there. He actually had his 50th birthday party at Buffalo. He rented it out, and he brought his dog, and he had a whole little
that's cool.
A party. He was saying so. Yeah. So wait till you meet this guy from. I have his card and stuff, so he knows we're gonna like look him up because he wants to come on our show one time, which would be a great guest. And he's the one that like basically runs those bookings for the Buffalo Bill House. So so Father Evil's fun though. He's a cool dude. He's very intimidating around. He just walks around in that costume, and I hand it to you. He commits to that.
Oh yeah,
thing.
he's totally in character at all times, and he's always fun. Like you walk by him and do something, he'll always like interact with you and whatever. So he's pretty fun.
Yeah, we almost like need to somehow get a picture with him this year or something. I feel bad. We've like I've interacted with him at all these cons and never got.
We'll make it a point to be more social towards Father Evil this time.
Yes,
and then the big one. This is like. To me, is like the big guest here because I've always been a fan of this guy since I was a little kid, and I'm now reading his memoir that he did with his brother Ron Howard, and I'm of course talking about Clint Howard, who probably you first saw as a kid actor. He was a star of Gentle Ben. He was in Star Trek. He was in Night Gallery. I mean, he was in tons of shows when he was little.
Every Ron Howard movie he's
pretty
in.
much, every Ron Howard movie he's in. He's been in like from the horror side, he's been in countless stuff. Ice Cream Man, and Evil Speaker probably is too.
Well, which he used to give it, like, that was one of the few movies that, like, he would always, like, really freak me out back in the day with Evil Speak. So I got to talk to him about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really excited, and his memoir is really wonderful. I had heard the book was good, and I started reading it because I wanted to finish it before the con, and it's really a love letter to his parents, because Ron and Clint Howard were success stories out of the child acting business, because there's not a lot of successful child actors that make the transition into adulthood. And of course, Ron Howard went the director route. He left acting and went into director, but Clint Howard just kind of stayed in the acting realm. But it's just a beautiful memoir about, really how their parents both protected them from the Hollywood side, but also encouraged it, and how much they taught them. It really is just a very loving tribute to their parents, and I'm really liking it. I'm about halfway through it right now, and it's just a great book about how close he and his brother are. It's just wonderful to read. So I really want to talk to him about really the book, and how much I've enjoyed it. So it's kind of given me another angle to talk to him about it, because it goes without saying you recognize this guy from all his wonderful character actor portrayals.
Yeah, there's one my friend Mark and I always laugh at him from when he was in Parenthood. He played like the angry parent on the other side. Remember, he's like, he had no business being there. No business. No business.
He's great. Yeah, I really like him, so I can't wait to meet him. That's my big get. He was a last minute addition. Like, we did not know about that until last minute.
I wonder if that was like almost like a preemptive strike, because they knew that there was a chance that Eric Roberts was
bail. Yeah.
Gonna bail, and Eric Roberts was gonna be our big focus of ours to hang out with. Now Clint Howard has moved into the #1 seat right next to us.
That's right.
Wherever we are, he's gonna have to try his best to shake us.
I would definitely karaoke with Clint Howard if given the opportunity.
God, can you imagine?
If given the opportunity,
we gotta ask him. See, that's what we need to do. We need to prep these meetings. like Whit was a big surprise. We did not expect him to take down karaoke the way he did. So, this is like this year's. We're saying like this year's is Whit. Like every year, some poor unfortunate soul gets our attention, and is going to be like we're basically linking to them without them knowing it. You're it, Clint Howard.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the rundown of the guest list, and then of course, like we said, we're going to be at the arcades. We're going to be playing pinball. We're going to be driving go-karts. Like Olivia was asking me what there is to eat up there. I was like, oh my god, like there's.
Oh my god, there's like about 600 restaurants. Yeah. I think we might try and hit Serendipity so we can get Tim his giant frozen hot chocolate to get him started on his day. And I think we want to do the buffet, I think, on Sunday night, just after the con. Be a good way to, do the refill there of stuff. And then we got, there's also that great that place you and Ken ate at in there, and then we eat at the Hard Rock. Yeah. Sometimes there's the pizza. There's White House subs, of course. That's Tim sobering up food. We need to get him. We definitely need that. I just want to quickly go through the panels real quick to some good panels. This one's an interesting one, but it's a bad time. It's like right when the con starts. It's a horror author discussion, which would be right up Tim's alley. But I don't know if Tim wants to, I don't even know if you'll be there by that point, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, that one. We might be there by that time.
We'll see. Maybe. I mean, I don't even know who it is, like who's doing it. Just as horror author discussion.
It's interesting.
Then you got Tom McLaughlin's doing a panel, which would probably be great. The kindergarten cop one we mentioned earlier, which they're just trying to force down our throats. The Halloween reunion one, which will be cool, but a little bit now sad that you don't have the father-daughter duo of Charles Cypher and Nancy Loomis. But hopefully Charles Cypher is okay, because his health is, of course, most important. That's on Friday. And Saturday we had the Eric Roberts panel, but everything got flipped around. I think now it's something else goes there at 12. Then Felissa. Oh, and Judy Aronson, I guess, was always at 2. I guess it was always back to back. I was thinking more the other way, Eric Roberts into Felissa Rose, and I was like, I want to see the 3, but I don't want to spend 3 hours in there. But now it's different. Maybe it's the Chucky reunion moved up. I gotta go. I gotta look back at the schedule. I'll update the chart. And then you got, Judy Aronson, as I said, the Chucky reunion, the cosplay contest, and the film festival awards. Because you forget, though, this con is, got very interesting dynamic, because all this time going on, there's literally a film festival going on at the same time. So even if you're just in the mood to see, you can get so much out of this con, with your pretty decent admission price, because you could just make it a film festival if you want, and panel if you want, but there's just so much. It's actually hard to get to everything you want to get to. Especially because, like, I mean, I've seen this on YouTube already, but, like, it'd be kind of fun to watch with a crowd, the Friday the 13th Vengeance 2. But it's like at 3 o'clock, I mean, it's hard to catch all these movies. Although I did try and do my best at to try and write some descriptions of the movies that I could find, if I could, so we could see if there's anyone we want to highlight. And there was a couple of decent shorts in there. I wouldn't mind checking out. So we got to look into that.
Yeah.
There's actually a Dee Wallace is actually up for an award. I wonder if she'll show up as like a surprise, like.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Guest just to hang out.
Be super cool.
Because, I mean, we've both met Dee, but she is a delight in any form, either in movie or in person. But, so there's plenty of stuff we're going to do. We might even do a little gambling. We're going to try and do some Instagram lives for everybody. And, basically the four of us, anything could happen. We don't know what's going to go on. Get to see our good friend Abby.
Goonies Slots owes me $5, so I got to...
Oh, that's right. We need to go back.
I need to go back and get my $5 back from
you do.
Chunk and Sloth.
Yeah, gotta definitely take care of that for you. But yeah, no, I figured on Sunday night might be a good gambling night too. Or Cole might want to do Friday, he said. But Sunday night after the con is over, it'd be nice after you have dinner. We're going to be in the Hard Rock and go down there. We take the walk on the boardwalk, hit some of the other casinos.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd like to do that because we haven't really been able to do that the last couple times.
Yeah, I know. Every year it's funny. It's like the weather's terrible. Remember, we never got to the first year. It was rain all day. We barely got you down to I think we got you down to the Buffalo Bill one or whatever that was. Not Buffalo Bill, whatever, the Wild West Casino you got to see. But really, it's like, it goes way further down than that, all the way down to Tropicana. Either way, I mean, most of the time we're not outside. You don't need to. There's so much going on in the thing. You're outside literally from going to, because they took away our path through. But maybe so we got just walking outside and going right back into the Hard Rock. One thing though is we're back in the rooms that we had the first HorrorCon, which are much better. We're not in that weird all the way to the back corner of remember where it felt like the hotel was dead back there. Now we're in that one where with our famous elevator meets. We're there, so it's kind of like right down in the center of things. So I like that positioning of the room better.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a good time, and of course keep an eye out on our socials and everything, because we will be trying to send you some content, and some pictures and things from the con floor.
Yes, we will.
All right.
So I guess we'll and our schedule, we're not sure what's. I'm sure we'll have a con recap with the guys will come on and everything. We'll have that because we'll probably have crazy stories to tell, and we have the dismemberment to go in. So April might be a weird month too, just because I'm packing up because we're relocating temporarily. So scheduling may be a little weird next month or so, but we'll definitely probably have a show for you at least once a week somehow.
So we'll see you back here soon, guys.
See ya.